from the BigAss Poker Hideout. And we're live with me, myself, Grinding and Grounds, Vegas Angel, Dr. Rudy, Headland. But she's not being shown by the camera for some reason. It won't go over there. She should at least sit in the chair.
Yes.
All right.
Because it'll pick up
Don't
the
sit
chair.
on the head.
Hi.
Slide over. Alley Xbox, that way. So anyways, we've been out here in Vegas for the last, I don't know, since you heard from us last, it's been a week, I guess. A lot of things have transpired in the BigAss poker team. The Heartland Poker Tour rolled into Las Vegas this last week.
Yes.
We all played an event, at least one.
Yes.
I played event one. I satellited in for $80. Most fun satellite I've ever played ever.
And Angel and I satellited for free.
Angel and Heather both satellited in using aceplaypoker.com. Big shout out to them. And we do have a giveaway tonight. The first person who can answer a trivia question, which we're going to ask later in the show, is going to get an aceplaypoker.com wristband bracelet kind of thing. You know what I'm talking about. We're going to send you one from Ace Play Poker. They both won their seats to the event number one, $360 buy-in to the Heartland Poker Tour, and all four of us got to play it.
Yes. I did terrible.
Tell us the hand that you chipped up with the most in the tournament.
Gosh, I think it was Pocket Kings.
Tell us about Pocket Kings. What position were you in?
Pretty much under the gun. And then I min-raised and had a blind go all in.
How deep into the tournament were you?
That pot floated me down to the last four tables. But I folded most of that tournament. I definitely played Texas Hold'em.
What hand were you up against when you had your kings?
An ace queen. It was ace queen in the big blind. I min-raised. The big blind had probably at least 10 times my chips. He was running really hot, so I thought I was going to get knocked out. There was still about 80 players left at this point. It was my best hand of the tournament and probably my biggest pot. Of course, I doubled up, and that floated me down to about 4 tables where I ended up getting knocked out. And I just cannot recall the hand I got knocked out with. I can't remember.
You got knocked out.
In event one?
I can't remember.
I don't remember. It was that eventful.
But it's interesting because the hand that put you over the top, the kings versus ace queen, is the exact scenario that knocked me out when I had kings and he had ace queen.
Well, we're not talking about knockout hands yet. We're not talking any bad news here on the Big Ass Poker Show. We want to talk about good things that happened during the tournament. Now, Rudy, you played in event number one also. You came in. You didn't satellite. You bought in. Right?
This is true.
So tell us.
You want to talk about it?
Yeah, tell us about it.
Well, now you know how I lost. My game was kind of interesting. You know, sometimes you have good games and sometimes you have bad games. And the bad ones, you got to brush them off because they're always going to happen. And there's nothing you could do about it because, as we all know, there's a lot of skill and there's some luck. But I had a great time, had a good table, very talkative. Didn't really make any waves, but it was a fun event. I was really surprised that that was the only 40K that they put up because, honestly, they seemed to meet all their guarantees, and they surpassed that one by, I think it was 15,000. And then they had a 10K, and they surpassed that. And the 5Ks, they surpassed all those. And then they had blank days where during the middle of the event, nothing was going on, which was really weird. So I don't understand their scheduling down there. But as far as the event goes, number one, I think I fired 2 bullets. Two bullets. And it wasn't necessarily the highlight of my career and my quest to be a thousandaire, but I did have some fun. Like, in only highlighting the good points, I would have to say that met some cool locals. I finally ran into a girl named Chica for the third time down there that we all know and love.
A batty, crazy cat lady that plays
Wow.
on Ace Play Poker, and she's
Yes.
if you play on Ace Play Poker with
Now
her
she's
some
probably
nights,
listening, thinking, "Now that's the Nate you were
Good
talking about."
Good positive.
Anyway, she
she's
likes
there's
to do a
nothing-
lot of crazy things. So.
There's nothing wrong with being a crazy cat lady. There's lots of them out
That's
there.
true. That's true.
I'm gonna
And,
be one of those.
I
Yes,
ran
you
into
are.
a lot of fun people, and I think that I think overall my experience down there was positive. I don't run very well down there lately. I did notice that where you know how you go to one place and then you turn around and go to another, and you're like, hey, I run great over here, and I run like poo poo over here, and no matter what you have, your kings, aces are getting cracked, and then you go over to another tournament from a different area, and you have great luck. Well, that's kind of what's happening to me over there, but grin and bear it, because Ace Play seems to give away a lot of seats, and they're the only ones that I know that does that. So I'm gonna keep doing it, and I guess if I have to play the strat, then I will. It's like I have plans to play in the main, so hopefully I can run a little bit better there.
Well, tomorrow's the $360 satellite. I was fortunate enough to take down $280 seats on AcePlayPoker.com. So I'm going to combine those two and play in the $360 satellite to the main event tomorrow. I believe two others are going to be playing in that same satellite to try to get their main event seat. You've already got one locked up?
I've got a seat locked up.
Rudy's already got a seat locked up to the main event, which is fantastic. Heather's got one that she's got to earn yet.
I still have to earn mine.
Are you doing yours tomorrow?
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome.
We are gonna all try to satellite, and of course we're gonna try to get all four of us in the main, so we could go in as one big team. We try to get our shirts ready for this event, so we could be true ballers, but that's probably not gonna happen unless.
That's all right. There's the WSOP main.
Well, we
circuit
should be able
main
to. If
too.
we final table,
Yeah.
our hoodies should be ready to go, and then we could really look official. But other than that, I'm just excited to be part of the team, and I really am looking forward to the main. I've never been in a tournament that costs $1,700. I've always kind of kept around the $200, $300, $400, $500 range, which is my comfort zone. Honestly, I'm comfortable buying in straight into one of those events. I don't think I would be all that comfortable with my, not with the skill, but with, even if I won 20K at the World Series, and I still couldn't talk myself into spending $1,500, and now I think I would, only because I really want to experience the big, the highlight of winning big. But even after winning that 20K, I didn't join anything big. I just didn't do it, which I regret. I really do. I'm more than interested in doing them, but I just never really bought straight in. I know you have twice, haven't you? Or you satellited into
Yeah,
yours?
I've never bought into a tournament.
Now, what about the
myself.
Monster Stack? Did you satellite into that?
No,
or?
I did not. I earned my way into it, working at the Blue Shark Optics booth and doing a couple other things on the side this summer. I was able to pull my way in.
Argumentatively, that and the Millionaire Maker, I think, is probably, well, besides the main, the three most exciting tournaments, in my opinion, down there. Especially the Monster Stack, because you actually get to start with a regular Hold'em deep stack, for what they're considering deep stack, and you get to play a little bit. You can make a mistake and continue to last in that thing.
It was a fun tournament.
And Nate did well in event one.
Event one, I did make day two.
Yeah.
Day two.
You got to bag and tag.
I did. I got to bag and tag. We were coming back at 12,000, 24,000 blinds with a 4,000 ante, and I come back and I go to take my seat, and this lady comes up to me and she pulls out this piece of paper and she's like, "Listen, you got short a stack. We're gonna offer you 1,500. With 1,500, you say yes, and you get 1,500." So we all decided, 16 of us. Decided that it was better off to chop it than play a hand, and me sitting with less than 2 blinds, I was more than willing to chop. I did have to give up a little bit more than what I wanted to make the chop, but I still cashed in my first HPT event of the year. I was happy with it. I satellited in for $80, so I really couldn't complain too much. $14,000 up top though, and I was just about that short when I final tabled the Heartland Poker Tour back in '06.
Yeah.
And I've been running pretty good. Rudy and I went down to the Stratosphere yesterday and played around a little bit. We got there in time to join the 11 a.m. late, and I got to the top 3 of that, and we chopped that. That was a good week of poker for me. I've had a lot of fun. The ladies and Rudy got to play in event number, was it 2?
Yeah, 10K.
Yes, we played event 2.
It started the next day when I was supposed to play day 2, but we never even dealt a hand on day 2. We threw all the chips in the middle of the pot and just chopped up the money.
Now, that was the 10K. What was the buy-in in that again? 135, I think it was. Wasn't it plus 10? I think that's
Something
what it
like
was.
that.
Yeah, for the 10K. Anyways, it was a great tournament too. It seemed a little bit softer and easier to navigate, for sure.
I had a way easier time than that.
Yeah,
tournament.
way easier time.
In fact,
The difference was
I only went
phenomenal.
out because I knocked myself out. So.
But I thought it was a way softer field, easier to navigate. Anything, it seems like even at the Venetian, when I buy into the 100 to 250K guarantees, multiple start days for $250, anytime you get up over $300-400, I notice that the play changes dramatically. But when you stay down in there, around 2 to 3 tops, the play is super soft. It's extremely easy. I noticed that. Bally's Main was $240. The play is just different. There's so many amateurs in there, it's easy to pick them off. Meaning if you're playing your cards well, a spot will find you if you're patient and good enough to see it. And if you capitalize on it, you find that you're one of the chip leaders in the tournament. And you're like, what the heck, this is easy. And so I find that. But as soon as I jump up to that $400 or $500 range, magically the cards go cold for me. It might be because
Do you think it's a mental state?
Well, I don't think I play enough of them. I think the cards are legitimately cold, but I just don't think that I put myself in that seat often enough, because as you know, we could buy into a $60 strat daily and have a cold tournament. That's totally possible, and it's happened where I just would have the worst tournament of my whole life. It felt like.
Our new friend Ken Lind, who was sitting here last week, said there's no such thing as card bet.
It's only because he thinks that you should be making plays and never go short. I don't completely agree with everything he does sitting at his table, but he is an awesome guy.
And that's another thing that we all got to experience this week. Most of us got to sit down and play poker with the World Series of Poker.
I sat to his sat to his right, and
I did not.
I felt like
No?
I probably had one of the better times in the whole tournament, sitting there, listening to him, talking to him, watching his expressions and listening to him laugh and having a good conversation. And it really, really made my night sitting there and hanging out with him. It was fun. I saw him do some things that I thought, wow, I wonder if that's ever going to be in the book. But, we always do things that, just feel we go with the flow and the way the universe is kind of centered around us at the moment, and we do things that it's all for fun anyways. And
sorry, I'm just.
I don't think that Kim Lynn is probably taking a couple $100 tournament extremely serious anyway. So we can't base everything off of one game. So, but I've definitely sat in that 40K. And I will tell you something I've never, ever, ever done. I've never, in 30-minute blinds, not played one single hand for 2 hours. Where from one break, I came back and went to the next break and hadn't played one hand. Normally, I'm biting at the bit to play a hand, and I didn't play one. I couldn't get. If I got a face card, it was followed by a 2, 3, or 4 offsuit, and I just didn't want to gamble that way in that tournament, in that spot, with the amount of chips that I had, I wanted to, before I gamble and make positional plays, I wanted to at least get a legitimate hand, win a legitimate pot, have a good showing. But it just never came that way. Never did. But I'm looking forward to getting some opinions of some of the pros that have made a lot of money, that we have showing up here in the near future. Especially the first week of December. I'm not going to mention who because I don't want to say one thing and not have it happen. So, but I'm really interested to get some opinions, and hopefully we can spread a table and play with some of these people, and maybe someday have a whole card camera so our viewers can watch while we talk about their accomplishments and their opinions and play at the same time, and we could all kind of learn something. And then as well critique each other later. So I think that's going to be a fun segment. I think there's a lot of things we want to do. As always, we all know this is a great hobby and something we all enjoy doing. So, but in the end, in that 40K, it was the two girls that were triumphant, and it was the 10K. Was it the 40K though too? No, just
the 10K.
How far did you make it in the 10K?
In the 10K, I did.
I mean the 40K.
40K is 40th.
Oh, 40th. Okay. And the 10K, you went out 17th, but with a great hand, Ace King, and I think even firing 2 bullets at that. I don't think I can't remember it. Where did I go out in that darn tournament? I don't even know. Somewhere way where I shouldn't have. Somewhere where it was, I sheepishly sat on the sideline, talking to everybody else that was also out. So,
Social butterfly.
Angel, you actually made your first official Heartland Poker Tour cash.
Yeah. I cashed. I got back what I bought in for. So, no, I think we figured I made the team $3 and something a piece. So.
Really?
Yeah. So
we'll be
you're
expecting
welcome.
our share real soon.
You got your share in the. You guys all got it. Yeah. But it was fun. It was kind of hard for me to sit there that long.
Well, so many tricky
It's
players
just like,
nowadays. There's so many things that players do nowadays that I find that. Don't you find that if you ever kind of got out and tried some new things, it kind of develops who we are today when we play poker. But I've tried a lot of new things. I've tried to duplicate some strong play, and if I see somebody constantly killing it, I'm going to try to do what they do. And that's how I learned how to play poker years ago. But sometimes when you're just having a cold night, and you're like, okay, I got to do something different, do you switch your play up, Angel, or do you just stay the course regardless if you got one chip above the felt? I mean, where do you stand on that? Do you change your play at all?
I don't think so, really. I change. I'll get up and walk away from the table and come back or whatever in a couple hands. And that's why, tournaments are hard for me because if something's not going my way, I just want to get up and walk away. But you can't get up and walk away because now your antes are out there and my blinds and I'm wasting all this money. But
And you're just up walking around, not caring.
no, it's not that I'm up walking around not caring. It's like in a cash game, I think it changes a little bit for me. I think it changes my mindset. I like to walk away from the table.
But if you're down to 8 times blind, does it even matter anymore? I mean, do you want to try to get it in with Ace King still, or are you looking for any ace?
I'm looking for any ace.
Any ace. So you change a little bit.
Yeah.
You're going to loosen up, and I think I saw you
Ace 5.
get in there with Ace 5. Which
Got it in bad, but came out shiny.
Came out shining, smelling real good. And I know that we've all been there. We've all done it. And sometimes you've got to take that risk. And you've got to do what you got to do. So it's a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to going back and playing some satellites tomorrow. And
Now, Heather, put the laptop down for just a minute. We got to talk to you now. Come on, put it down.
Come on,
Put it
Landay.
down. Actually, look at it. This is your show.
If
Okay.
No, you're.
well, there.
I want to take a GoPro with us tomorrow, and I'm gonna, these girls here, they don't want us to take pictures. They don't like
Okay.
anything to do with media when it comes to their looks or anything else. And I'm no one to brag because I need to lose a ton of weight and stuff. But I think it really bothers these two. But you know what?
Dang.
So actually, we'd like to find out in the chat room if you're on Tilt Radio right now, or even watching this on YouTube. Come into On Tilt Radio, sign up for an account so that you see the chat room pop up, and tell us how you feel about your own personal image at the table. Does it help if you're dressed up? Does it help if you're in your comfortable clothes? What helps you feel more comfortable at a poker table?
Point being said, you have to feel pretty good about not only who you are, but how you feel, how you think other people feel about you. Because anybody says, "Oh, I just don't care," well, then that means that they probably obviously feel pretty good about themselves. Otherwise, they probably would care. So it's important. And so I think that image, the way you see yourself, is most important, and probably a big part of the winning strategy. So you can focus fully on the cards.
Well, yeah, and this is what I like to wear. I want my hat, so it's way down. I want my hoodie and jeans and tennis shoes. Don't put me or a tank top. If you see me dressed up, I am not comfortable, and I will probably lose the first hand. Like I don't want to be.
I mean, really,
I have my whole
So you show up in a bathing suit, and a two-piece,
right?
And you sit down at the table, and all of a sudden you put everybody on guard, on tilt. Probably they're probably thinking, "What the hell is this girl doing here? Wearing this thong at the table?" And so you probably got a great edge, right? So
maybe, and I've thought about that, maybe dressing a little different, but I'm not comfortable. I don't want to sit there.
Some girls that I know intentionally show cleavage.
Yes,
just so they can get some
Well, that's
reaction.
We had a transvestite show up. He was sitting at my table, and I had a guy that lived at Frisco that he was saying he had a sharp eye for that, and we spotted him out really quick. But
Was
I'm not
it a
going to
5 o'clock shadow?
It
Or?
was pretty. It was pretty distracting, because it just was. And so if you these things affect you.
The things that can distract you at a poker table.
Yeah, absolutely. And you only get them mainly in Vegas. I mean, I've never ran into that in Sacramento. Never had that problem.
Yeah.
I don't believe that there's not any.
Well, you know what? Go
But
sit at the
there's trades
table.
in
I
Sacramento.
always ran into the same regulars. The card rooms are small there. You have the Lucky
I just thought you
Derby,
meant in
you have
general.
Capitol, the Limelight, you have places like that, and these places are packed full of regulars, and we always see the same
There's
people.
nothing wrong with the poker playing tranny.
No, I didn't say there's anything wrong with it. Hey, I said you guys could show up in your underwear and sit and play as long as you're covered, and they'll probably let you do it.
I doubt that.
But
Maybe we should try. Maybe we should try to get a little.
I'll let y'all know how that goes.
what's going to happen is you're going to probably distract people from thinking solely about their cards and staying focused, and it's really going to the extreme. And so that's, I think, why people at the World Series of Poker show up with a vest that has like 500 little teeny bells on it, and it's distracting, and it keeps your mind from yeah, I'll take one. From staying on poker.
You want wicked?
I'm working on the
Maybe we should do an experiment
Margaritas.
and like one day
Apple.
go
And I'm gonna take
very
this-
dressed up, and the next day go with like makeup, like what's her name with the great big blue
Yes,
eyeshadow.
and I'll follow you with a GoPro.
And see if
Thank
it
you.
changes.
And
Heather would never
I'll
do
put
that.
out a dare to anybody that wants to do that to go super, super, super extreme and play a whole
I
tournament.
would do it.
And I'll put
Yeah.
the GoPro. I'll give them $100. They just got to go do it, but it
Ooh.
better be extreme. I mean, really.
Well, yeah,
extreme.
you have to accept it. Yeah. Okay.
It's got to be extreme. And then I want to put it on YouTube and on our
Really?
show,
All right.
and I think it would be awesome. That's what I
Alright.
want. And the experiment, of course, isn't just for laughter, but it's to see how we can really distract and get into some of the heads.
We should rent them a moped to drive to the tournament.
Oh yeah.
Like we got
totally.
Dr. Golf that shows up down there.
Yes.
We have a few others that, without dropping too many names, they're regulars down there.
Does Heather think it's break time or something?
You just got up.
I got up to get drinks. I didn't leave the show.
We really, if anybody would like to volunteer, we need a cocktail waitress.
Let us know,
Or
and I
Later.
will either take you up on the offer, depending on how extreme, if you're really into that kind of thing.
I think I'd do it.
And it would be, if Angel would do it, that'd be great.
I think I would do it.
Now, this better
I
be
don't
good.
know.
This better be good. And I think that it would be great to get some airtime like that. And I think that I want to run the experiment on how far you can knock somebody off their game.
Yeah.
Because honestly, if there was a woman or a man that showed up so obscene at the table, I know it's going to affect the whole table and the tables around them. Their minds are not going to be focused.
So you're telling me if I showed up with nipple tassels on and
Yeah, I think it would. But the thing
And
is,
a
I think
diaper.
when you show up, you have to be serious about it.
Yeah.
You can't go in all like giggly or whatever and,
Why
and
not?
try to make. I know. I think you have to be. I think you should just be serious and see how.
Be in
like,
your
people-
character, do your thing.
Well, yeah, but not so out of,
I like to be table captain when I'm there. And I think
Well-
nipple tassels would help my table image.
Yeah.
The time to do that would be going to the main. So we expect to see Nate in some nipple tassels.
If you have any nipple tassels that you'd like me to wear, please email me at bigasspodker@gmail.com and let me know if you have some nipple tassels with
The
your
ultimate
sponsorship
dare
logo
for Nate.
and $100, and I'll
Yeah.
maybe
Maybe.
$100 per nipple tassel.
This is
Send
what
me
we need
4.
to do. We need to all play. We need to play a Texas Hold'em home game, and the loser, basically the first person out, is going to have to do something that we all decide. I mean,
It's got to be 2 out of 3 then.
2 out of 3.
Two out of
Okay,
You're not
fine.
cracking
I'll go 2
my
out of
aces.
3. That could be a
You're
long.
not cracking my aces and making me like
2 out of 3.
walk like a chicken.
So
My
we
condo.
could put on a thing. You probably won't get aces on a home game with just 4-handed. It's possible. It happens, but it doesn't happen too often. But
Don't let me deal.
we'll probably. Yeah, I cracked Amber's aces with King Jack, so that was always fun. So yeah, she was a little annoyed about that.
I'd be a little annoyed.
But yeah, a
I
lot of
just
good
wanted-
times, and I'm really excited about the main coming up, and I am going to try my best, but I know it's going to play different than a $100 buy-in. It's obviously a main event for $16.50, so I know that the play is going to vary. Mostly, it's probably going to be a little bit more, possibly better is what I'm thinking it's going to be. I played in a lot. I played in a few $500 events, and the play was always better. It was they were of course hammering and trying to get pots and stuff, but there was a lot more skill involved, and so I'm looking forward to it. I'm competitive. I don't care who it is I'm going to hand up against. Cards are cards, and I just like the competition, and I love the game, and I've got my mind set on first goal, just making it to the money, and then of course final tabling. So that's of course if they have like 350 players, they'll probably pay out 35, 36 players. So probably the last 4 tables. I'm really looking forward to this, and that's going to be on Friday.
What time does it start on Friday?
I'm not sure. There's some flights on Friday. There's a flight on Friday
Only
and
one flight
2
Friday.
on Saturday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
That will be at work, probably.
well, if you get a seat, you can play on Saturday, right? Or you work on Saturday?
No, I don't have to work.
Yeah, you see, you could go in on Saturday and
There you go.
when your time into day 2 and
Day 2 is Sunday, and then Monday's
the Monday is
televised
the
final.
televised final.
Oh, cool.
But I'm sure you could.
Because we're all
Yeah,
four,
right?
we're all
Yeah.
four going to be
No big
there,
deal.
and we're all going to take
Yeah.
in first, second, third, and fourth, and we'll all be wearing the same hoodies.
That would
Who
be
the
fun.
heck is this? Who are these guys?
Hopefully. Which, thank you, Lori and Matt Finley, if you're listening. Georgia, for your orders and your support. A lot of you guys were hitting us up on Facebook, wanting updates. I was so wrapped up in folding that I wasn't really on Facebook. So once I got knocked out, I was really flattered to see how many people cared and were checking in on us to see how we were doing. That was a really frustrating tournament for 3 out of the 4 of us. Well, it might have been frustrating for you, I guess. It's kind of
play.
well, yeah, it's pretty frustrating to. No, I'm talking about that one.
The first one.
That one.
Oh. Yeah.
Everybody was. We had a lot of support. A lot of people asking how we were
Yeah.
doing, wanting updates and stuff, which was really nice. So we appreciate that, and appreciate the recent orders from Lori and you guys too. So, which by the way, Lori's going to be on the show again soon. Which she's never been on the BigAss Poker Show. I know she's been on your show, but she's never been on the BigAss Poker Show. So I'm excited to have her on here.
That's cool.
If I remember
The only
correctly,
hazing is you have to have 5 wickets, and that's it. You'll be good to go.
Even
Yeah,
in the
little
Skype
tipsy.
interview,
Yeah.
even if it's just a Skype interview, you still have to drink wickets with it.
Within an hour, and you'll be good. I think it'd be fun, and if obviously, if I win the main, which I'm just gonna put it out there,
You better be careful. This is recorded.
I'm gonna
I'll
throw
be like, hey.
one hell of a party for everybody that is around me and that is our friends, and of course that is a member and supports us. And I would love to do something really fun, really cool, and obviously, winning the main is first step. But if that happens, you could be looking forward to something really fun, and that's what it's all about. That's why we do this.
Yeah.
That's why we do this. It's just it's an awesome hobby, and it's really fun, and I can't think of anything better. It's one of the things to do than to do something like that.
I agree. We'll throw a party.
In the latest news, the World Series of Poker final table just went off,
Oh yes.
and it's over.
And
Yes.
Nate,
Most
Well,
experienced
Kimmer's-
guy won.
Kimmers is not in here, so I guess you don't have to apologize to her again.
I put in the chat room that spoilers were coming first. I said, if you don't want to know, close the chat room now before I did anything.
Because I already knew who was going to win that. Because I knew
really
Van
thinking-
Hoff was only
Right.
playing his cards and not making plays.
Oh, the hair.
Yeah, he had the fabulous hair.
The cleaner, all of his shirts say that you
Well,
can
we call
buy
him the
him on
hair.
goodgear.com.
He can call himself whatever he wants, but he will be forever known as the hair.
The hair.
The hair.
But, Jacobson really had a lot of creative plays.
And he had really
Jacobson.
crazy hair. I liked that.
Yeah.
Jacobson or Stevenson?
Jacobson.
Jacobson.
He had the hair that came down. And
That was Jacobson. So Jacobson won.
Stevenson wear the
Okay.
hat and the hoodie.
They have horrible names. They're like the same
His
to me.
patience got him where he was at. He
Yeah.
definitely didn't
Yeah.
get
Yes,
great
he
cards.
played amazing. He has terrible hair. Sorry. I said it.
I said it.
Live on the radio.
It's out
Whatever.
Well,
Yeah, he did have terrible hair. But at any rate,
I was not. I actually rooted against him because of his
He's
hair.
got $10 million.
Yeah.
he's looking
And
mighty
you're-
sexy today.
I'm playing poker. I'm watching these two heads up, and I can't stop staring at his hair. And I say out loud that I wish he would have went out earlier because I don't like his hair. And this guy's like, that is so funny. Like only a girl would say something like that, But yeah, we would.
Nate
Yeah.
Angel
If you
voted
wear-
for Van
Well,
because he had the fabulous hair.
he does have fabulous hair, and it looked perfect. And I loved his
just-
hair.
It was pristine.
I just couldn't
Yeah.
stand the dramatic stare down on every hand. That was really.
That was the only thing he did really well.
Now you have to understand, from our perspective, we were sitting watching it on a muted television.
Oh, right.
No commentary at all because we're
Right.
playing poker in a poker room, so we can't hear it. They don't have the caption on, so we can't read anything. We can't hear Norman Chad at least breaking up that,
Right.
So all you see every time you look up at the screen is the hair staring at somebody, and it would go on for minutes on every hand, and I'm like, oh my god, the drama, and I couldn't wait for him to get knocked out, and I really liked him, but after a while, it got really old. I mean, it's almost like he watched final tables in the past, and didn't realize that they handpick those hands for television. And now they're showing every hand for television, so it was like he wanted to dramatize every hand, and not every hand is a decision. I'm sorry, hair. It's just not.
And as far as Mark Newhouse goes,
let's talk about this.
Mark Newhouse, as far as I'm concerned.
Wait. Some listeners don't know who Mark Newhouse is.
Mark Newhouse. Well, anybody that knows or has watched the World Series Poker Final Table knows that Mark Newhouse, second year in a row, went out twice, 9th place. Now, as far as how he did it, I have to admit I don't think he was mentally prepared because the bubbles were so massive. His fold equity was so much better than jamming his entire stack. So not worth the risk. And I just think that he lost that to himself. And I think that it's a travesty, but I think that the weakest player went out first.
In his exit interview, he said he was going to give up on the turn, but the board came a 4, so he thought it'd be a good time to represent the 4 in bet. And then after he got called, he's like, "Oh, okay, well, maybe not. I'm going to give it up here then." After the 4.5 gets called, he's like, "Okay, I can give it up here." But then the jack comes off and double pairs the board for jacks and 4s and a deuce. So he's thinking with pocket 10s, he could get called by an ace, king, ace, queen, whatever he may have had if it was just a strong ace. So he's actually thinking he may be value betting there? Do you think? Or
I don't think it was that bad of a play, honestly.
I'm never going to agree with that play. It was a 500K bubble. I'm never going to agree with what he did. I will never be a professional player and play that way. So I'm not going to call myself a professional player either, but I can tell you as an amateur, I will still never, ever, ever do that. Ever. It was terrible. It was fucking terrible. And I'm so disappointed because I was rooting for him to win. He was my guy.
That's pretty passionate.
Well, you know what? It's disappointing.
He had a very large rail, especially from the friends and fans that he gained from last year.
I had my eye on him the whole time. He made this. He was like, he still is. I really like the guy, but I really wanted him to win, and he turns around and jams it in with so much to risk with something like that. It's not worth it.
The issue I have is forgotten. That was an issue.
But you know,
he did not play poker for 4 months before the tournament.
That's a bad thing.
Since the main event,
I don't think that's a bad thing.
I don't think terrible. Why would you go 4 months without playing a hand of poker?
Why would you not be playing one table tournaments with your friends every single day? Why not? What else are you doing besides trying to earn $10 million?
I'll tell you why. Because the skill that got him there didn't go anywhere. Now, it's up to him to use the knowledge that he had. And I believe that he was a better player than the way he played. And the way he played was terrible. And that's just the way it is. I think he has the skill to do better. And I think he blew it. And I don't think it had anything to do with him not playing Little Sit and Goes. I think he just decided to make he just made a bad decision. We all do. We all make bad decisions.
Everybody does that. Everybody does that.
Yeah, we all
Unfortunately for him, it was on national television. Yeah, for all of us to sit back and watch. We knew what the whole cards were.
I can be a critic.
So
we are going to have Mystery Theater, Dunk 3000, or whatever it is. We're going to do something great. We're going to start showing all these.
Because we're the professionals, and I'm all for it, you know. But it's so easy when you're sitting back going, stop, you know. Don't make that move. Don't make that play. But, you know, in that situation, I've been in that situation. I've made that exact move, and it did not work for me. And it won't work for me again, but, you know, it was terrible.
Do not critique Landay.
Don't get me wrong. It was terrible. It was terrible. I totally agree with you that it was a bad move, but I think it's a lot easier to sit back and see that it was a bad move than be in the moment holding those cards.
Well, that's the thing.
In his mind, he's going to take to the pot because
Discipline
of
is
what's
everything.
coming out.
Discipline is everything. And as long as you can keep your sight on knowing that discipline is everything.
Newhouse
But
wanted it, and he played like he wanted it.
He said that he
yes,
thought,
but he did play
thought
smart.
he had queens or kings, and he thought he was trying to bet him off it. So from what he said, he bluffed off his stack.
Well, sorry, Newhouse, but to bluff a 9th place finish of 500K bubble, never happening. It's just never.
Next year.
I feel bad for the guy because if he makes it to another final table, I'm going to subscribe to his every game and read everything he's ever done because I think he's going to be probably the best player alive. If he could do it a third time. He's already done it twice. He already deserves a great title.
Yeah,
he already deserves all the props in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy has done something that practically nobody has or will do. The guy's
He's going
great.
to tilt for weeks.
Yeah.
I know how I felt after I bluffed my way, and I was in the money too, after I bluffed my way out of the 10K, and that was for $4,000 up top. And I know how I felt walking out the door because I did it to myself. Imagine how he feels with his own play,
At least he had a pair of 10s.
I know.
Not a 6-3 offsuit.
We don't talk about that hand.
Jesus.
Just to say. Hey, I at least have the balls to bluff.
Yeah, hey, I appreciate that. I could say
I've had some big balls on the poker table, okay? Like
I normally never see you do that. I used to never see you. Now I see you making plays, and I think it's great. So the fact that you were able to pull the trigger and do some things is good. Tells me you're learning. When you're making mistakes, you're learning.
Well,
when you're not making mistakes, you're going on the same level, smooth little rail that you've been on for 10 years. Start making mistakes, mix it up, learn something, because that's when you get better.
Well, but, I'm not going to say I was disappointed. I had the chips. I was doing well. I was probably in the top 5 chips. With still 20, 25 people left. I was doing good. Man, those blinds, that blind structure at the end of that tournament, I'm not going to make excuses, but it was ridiculous. 15,000, 30,000. Nobody has over 10 times. There might be one person in the room that has at least 10 times the blinds at that point. It's absolutely ridiculous. So if you fold on a 6-handed table, because there's 12 of us left, and you start folding, you know what I mean? Like you're sitting there just folding away every 6 hands. You're going through almost 100,000 chips. I decided to try to keep myself in the game, and I ended up doing the opposite. But it felt terrible.
So I call it?
It felt bad.
Well, maybe macaroni and cheese.
Yeah, I think it's macaroni and cheese.
I think it is. But I do want to say, Landay here did Headland. Did make
Twice in a row.
Twice in a row. Gets to the bottom. 2 HP. Definitely a force to be reckoned with, and I'm really proud of her. She's doing so good, and even though she gets upset when she loses, really upset, she's been doing so good. So good.
She's harder on herself than she should be.
Better than I've been screwing up, and she's.
Well,
you made it too, Angel. You've been making it to the bottom. You did that last one, and
there he is, the man of the hour.
Look at him. Hey.
Everybody's good friend, Damon Schillenberger. How you doing, buddy?
Dude, I'm living it up at the Las Vegas Hostel in
at the Las Vegas Hostel, downtown Fremont Street.
Nice.
Fabulous, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Where are you at?
The Fremont Hostel, man. It's awesome. I love it. Take a look at this shit. Whoa, hot tub.
What'd you do? Rent the whole place out? There's nobody there.
There's nobody here, man, and it's like the awesomest place ever. I guess it's one of these hidden secrets.
Oh, we're coming over, man.
Nice.
Is that Damon?
Yeah, he's got a whole entire pool and hot tub to himself, and we're gonna bring a 24-pack of Wicked with us.
24-pack.
As soon as the show's over, we're coming by.
For sure. I was talking to Nate about we have to celebrate. He just became a poker pro. Or almost.
Yeah, we're not talking about that yet, though. Yeah, hang on, we're not talking about that yet.
What?
That's not released.
Okay.
But big news is coming. Big news is coming. You'll all get to hear about it soon.
Grab me one of those, please.
So, Damon is frozen.
Damon is frozen. Look at him. He's got such a good smile on his face.
You look like a happy man.
You can tell that you're on hostile internet because it's free, right? Okay, well, Damon's froze up, but make sure you check out his site, averydarkgame.com.
A dark game.
Averydarkgame.com. And Damon was recently, he took my place down at the Hall of Fame dinner with Daniel Negreanu and Jack McClellan being nominated to be in the Poker Hall of Fame. So congratulations to those two guys. I've met them both, got to interview them both. Great guys. And I'm sure, Damon, you got to talk to them, right?
Sorry, dude, I'm in a very hostile environment here.
We see you, though.
Get closer to the hot tub, Mr.
Yes.
Bilzerian.
Go ahead and get in the hot tub.
Right?
Don't throw any strippers in the pool.
I mean, we're on the sketchy end of town. I don't know what the strippers would be like here. But,
Well, Bilzerian picked them up and
You
threw
are
them into the
absolutely
pool.
there
remember?
all by yourself. That's crazy.
well, there's like a German guy in the corner, man. You can't see him, but he's.
That doesn't work.
We're
We're going to send Angel your way.
Yeah. I'll save you.
So what's up, man? We had an exciting event last night, Nate.
I want to talk about the Hall of Fame. I didn't get to go down. I was kind of wrapped up in life.
Oh yeah, I heard about that, and I did go down, and it was like awesome. It was really cool. The moment you step in and you're in Binions, you just feel such a history of like mafia and corruption, and it's beautiful,
That's what I like to hear.
And then we go up there, and it's like, the first guy I talked to is this old guy from New York. He's like totally bald, and he's like very sharp. And he says, well, we're looking at this picture to under because they've moved all the Hall of Fame pictures over there, which they usually hang in the Rio. And he says, I used to play that kid when he was in Brooklyn. He was a little, little guy, a little grinder. And he said he was good, but, he just would spend it on all kinds of stuff even back then.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
And then,
go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Oh, I don't want to change the topic on you. I thought you were done.
So then I get in there, and suddenly the first thing I see is this tall guy just chatting away and eating like, they've got hors d'oeuvres that are like snake, frog's legs, and alligator fried,
Yeah.
like Cajun style. And the first guy I see is Howard Lederer.
You did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was a big surprise, and a lot of people were not too happy to see him there actually, but there were no fights or fisticuffs, so I guess it was all good.
He's really not a liked man anymore.
So who was it?
I mean, I
Who
want to
was
ask
it, Damon? Who was it that was throwing a fit that he was there? Who was it that you seen that didn't like that he was there besides Daniel?
Well,
I know Daniel
I don't even
didn't
know
like that he was there.
I don't even know if Daniel. I mean, Daniel's such a politician, man. I mean, Antichrist could be there, and he'd be like, "Hey, hey, I'm vegan, man. Don't hurt me. Don't hate me, man." But no, but I mean, I want to ask you, Nate. What would you have done if you had been there in the same room? Because I know you have passionate feelings about the full tilt shit that went on.
Well, I honestly feel that the government fleeced Full Tilt Poker. I think they stole it from the creators. I will say that there was a very dark spot in the law, and I think that their research did just as much research as Poker Stars, and none of those guys lost anything. All of those guys still have Poker Stars. They sold it for $4 billion because they were able to buy Full Tilt and include it. I'm sorry. I believe that Howard Lederer was screwed by the government, and that's how I feel about it. I feel that I know Full Tilt wasn't doing things properly, but there's a lot of companies out there that weren't doing things properly, including Absolute Poker and Ultimate Bet. What happened to those guys? Why aren't they in prison right now? We haven't gotten to see any justice from what happened, besides the fact that a lot of the big poker pros who put their names up behind Full Tilt Poker got robbed by the United States government, who 3 months later said that the ruling that got them raided and got their information taken, the law that they used then didn't even apply to online poker. So I think it was a bunch of bullshit, and I think that the U.S. government owes Ray Bitar, Howard Lederer, and the rest of the staff at Full Tilt Poker their money back.
Okay. Well, I haven't read up on the documents, so I have no comment to that. I
have a different. I don't buy it so much, because I don't think two rights make a wrong. I mean, I obviously, when you steal, you steal. In my eyes, you shouldn't have. You shouldn't take what isn't yours, and that's the only problem I have with the whole Howard Lederer.
They stole a lot, man, like 150
That's right.
mil.
There's no justification for taking what is not yours. That's my take.
I don't like the I don't like what the government did or them, honestly. They were both wrong. You're right.
Yeah, there's our government, Howard Lederer. There's no saint here, but there's reason to be mad on both sides. But what's done is done. I don't think that anybody deserves maltreatment over and over and over again. So if I was to have run across Howard Lederer, I probably would just take a mental note of it and move on with my life. I've got better things to do.
So then let me continue with my Daniel Negreanu story. Anything else you want to know? I mean, I think...
How long was his speech?
It was about 10 minutes. It was relatively short for him, and he did thank Clear Choice or Choice Center or whatever for his success. And he was introduced by his agent, Mr. Ryan Bosworth. So that was pretty cool too. And I know he's the guy who introduced Daniel to that cult / self-improvement system.
My friend Lauren Kling is actually an instructor there also.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I actually...
I understand the cult following that it has.
Yeah.
But if you want to improve your life, I mean, why not try to do something? If you tried everything else and it didn't work, maybe this will work for you. To each their own. I don't judge.
I think if you've got the money, why not do it? Because, I mean, Daniel Negreanu's results after he joined the center speaks for themselves. He learned how to, parse all those things which were irrelevant to his life away, to bring back renewed focus, to learn the new game that these internet whizzes were playing, and he fucking kicked it out of the ballpark. So, let's let's say that it might have been due to his Choice Center workshops, becoming a real man, a sensitive man, putting out that message to the universe and so forth.
Well, he's pretty well connected with the human mind, I think. He can read souls. We all know that.
Well, he can talk people to death to the point where they give away a shitload of tells, is what I figured out. They're so annoyed at him, So I think there's that.
Very
too.
True.
Yeah.
Now, I know everybody was so happy that Daniel Negreanu got in, but alongside Daniel Negreanu, and actually the vote winner was Jack McClellan. Jack actually got more votes than Daniel Negreanu. Jack is in poor health right now. He is on the heart transplant list. So if you're driving down the road and you cross the lane, he could be the recipient of your heart if you've got that little donor symbol on your card. I have mine. I hope you guys have yours.
And Jack McClellan gave a very moving speech, and he particularly, thanked his wife, and he was very, he was so emotional. You could tell that it was all emotion with him. And I I think Doyle Brunson, gave a little intro. Unfortunately, the microphone conked out at that exact moment. They didn't have a very good microphone PA system, but it was very moving, actually. And I had a kind of a tear in my eye, hearing about his involvement in the industry for so many years and how he, helped it grow and brought people
decades
into poker. Yeah, decades. I mean, he was back in the day, man. He was one of the original, promoters of poker back when it was just a little sport in the 70s.
The most emotional part in poker, most emotional part in poker when I was into poker was when Stu Younger pulled the picture of his daughter out of his shirt pocket and showed it to Jack at the final table, and had a tear in his eye after he won it.
Was that the one that was on Fremont Street in the outdoors?
Outside, yeah.
And I mean, you could tell just by looking at Stewie, man, he wasn't in his right mind. He was,
his nose had already collapsed from his cocaine use.
Yeah, but he pulled it out one last time, and that was amazing, and that he did it for his daughter is even more amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I also had the chance to actually, I was sitting next to Rob. I forget his last name. He's one of the tournament directors with the WSOP, and he and his lovely wife. And he said, "Why don't you talk to?" I started proselytizing for the Ironman as I usually do. He said, "Why don't you just talk to Jack? Ethel. He's right over there. He's got the purple, the purple top, the purple shirt, and he's the guy who never shuts up." That's his exact words. And so I did. And this is, Jack Ethel is like looking at me funny, and he's like, "Well, I think it's a gimmick," is what he said. And, I have to use the bathroom. And so he was gone.
Aww. It's a gimmick. I have to use the bathroom.
That whole Iron Man thing, huh?
Yeah, the deepest structured, longest continuous poker tournament as recorded by the Guinness Book of World Records, folks. And it's a gimmick. Well, actually, it's because you have to pay the dealers a shitload more. That's the main thing.
Right, which is why the plaza is looking more and more feasible.
I talked to Hoke the other day, man, and he was like pretty gung-ho. And I think what we're going to do is try to get the plaza or someplace downtown on board to promote the hell out of this and do it during the WSOP and give them a run for their money and create the ultimate endurance poker event. Live from Las Vegas. From the real Vegas, Fremont Street.
From the real Vegas.
Yeah. And I tell you, man, I've been walking around Fremont, and this place is happening, man. It's like there's all kinds of little coffee shops, tattoo parlors, bars, happening here. A hostel. It's coming on the, it's really coming up, I will say.
So you like the hostel life? You like the life down there?
The hostel environment is a good one, man. The people who work here are awesome. I haven't seen, any drunk people, annoying people here. It's all good, man. And
they're all just stoned?
No drunk people.
I'm doing it for a week, I think about a week is my limit. I mean, I wish there were more drunk people, honestly. But yeah, I mean,
sucks.
Yeah, that's another of the charms of the hostel. But I will say that, yeah, to do it for about a week at a time, in small doses, it's fun. It's really fun, and you can have the classic Vegas hangover experience. So.
Well, awesome. We're it's almost that time again. Time to wrap up. We have a huge tournament tomorrow. We have the $360 satellite for the Heartland Poker Tour to try to get into the main event. There's going to be at least 3 of us playing in that, I think. Get into that $1,650 main.
So we'll have a lot to talk about next week for sure.
We're going to have a trophy in here.
Yeah.
BigAss trophy.
So Nathan,
BigAss.
I want to ask you, what about that Jacobson guy, man? That guy is so awesome.
I tell you what, there's no better way to win a $10 million prize pool than flopping a set of tens.
Yeah.
The guy's got not even 0.5% to catch up. That's a pretty nice $5 million bubble there. It's like, hey, you got 0.5% to catch up to me.
How much were you
over
hoping?
there?
How much were you hoping for an ace or a 9 on the turn so we could at least have a little bit of a sweat?
Yeah,
I wanted a little bit of it.
I gotta say though, I watched Jacobson back in June. He almost final tabled a really competitive side event. I think it was a $5,000 event. There was J.C. Tran, Eric Lindgren, George Danzer, Joe Cata, and Max Silver at the table. And he was just Mr. Calm, you know. They're all joking about their nicknames and stuff and really laughing it up. And he's just super quiet, watching, intense, studying the players. And finally, they've laughed it up. They've all told about their nicknames. And they get to, Jacobson, and they say, so what's your nickname, little guy? And he's like, looks at them very blankly. He's like, I don't have one. That's all he says. You know, he's super serious. He meditates. He does yoga. He's a real, truly a great player. I think one of the best.
Well, he already had over $5 million in wins. Now he's over $15 million in win. He's definitely in the top, at least 10 of biggest money winners in poker now.
Yeah.
So he's always going to be known. That's for sure.
They call him tournament specialist.
Exactly, and he continues the lineage of Daniel Negreanu. Daniel Coleman used to be dishwashers. Well, he used to be a cook on a boat in the Navy, and that's kind of cool too. You know, people from all backgrounds can have hidden talents and excel at this sport, this game that we all love. It's wonderful.
Dark game.
Yeah.
VeryDarkGame.com. Check out Damon's book on the One Drop at a VeryDarkGame.com.
We're gonna get that.
Dark game.
Yeah.
And that's going to do it for this week's edition of the Big Ass Poker Show.
Later.
We will be back next week. I forgot to give away a bracelet.
We'll do it next week.
You did.
I did. I forgot to give.
Oh my
God!
God!
You got to give away a bracelet.
Okay, trivia question: is Rudy going to win the main or not?
Yes.
Yes, you win.
Yay. Good night.
We'll be back next week. We'll give it away next week. I promise.